How's it going, YouTube? This is the part of the day. I just wanted to give you an update on my SPS tank. I also give you a small day update on my Nano tank also. So this is the part of the day what I like the most. I get to actually see the colors that my coral is actually getting. So the growth on a lot of my SPS is starting to pop and it's starting to come out, and it just takes patience. I'm just looking through. That's my bonsai, and that's another piece that I put in not too long ago. It's actually starting to color up, and just going through and just seeing the growth tips on a lot of my SPS is just it's rewarding. Anybody that keeps SPS is not a it's not an easy to me. It's not an easy thing because it takes a lot of patience, and it just takes a lot of you just taking your time. But the growth tips that I'm showing you right here on many of my coral, these coral, most of them haven't even been in there for about 3 months now. So even this one is starting to get growth tips to where it's actually coming up off of the plug. So when I get growth like this, and again, it's just being patient, just sitting back and actually just paying attention and not rushing things and taking your time and testing and not overdoing it in your tank. The only thing I dose in this tank now is I do dose all for reef, but it's a very, very small amount of those trace elements because I do have a algae scrubber, and those of you know that if you have an algae scrubber on your system, it takes a lot of the trace elements out of the water, so I replenish them. So I'm not even dosing 5 milliliters every day. I'm only dosing like 2 milliliters once a day of all for reef, so a very small amount. There's my Walt Disney starting to come out. But if you just look and see at the colors a lot of the coral have, they're really starting to settle in. It's my Jason Fox flame. And they're really starting to settle in, and now they're starting to grow. This is what you want if you do decide to go this route with a tank like this. And in my anacropore, that thing is just getting massive. It's just growing. But I took my time trying my best to space out the coral throughout my escape. As you can see, I'm just taking you through the side of it and just so you can actually look at the view. But I know once these colonies begin to grow and they start to take hold, I'm just gonna have to stay on top of my husbandry and just make sure that I'm fragging as many of them as I can. And I do have a frag tank set up, as I showed you in my previous videos. It's currently cycling, so I'm not really that concerned about that. I do have some more frags in the back that I just got in from Cultivated Reef. And they're just back there getting settled in. As you can see, I'm just gonna let them just do what they gotta do. And when SPS come here, when they come to you, sometimes they're white or they're brown and with no color. Just give them time, and just give them time to settle down in your tank, and just be patient. Give them a month or two, sometimes even a little longer than that, and then they'll settle in. You don't have to rush everything. The coralline algae growth, as I'm showing you right now, is starting to get better, a whole lot more on my rock work. This is what you want to see when you have SPS, because it's showing the stability of pretty much of your system. If all your parameters are stable and nothing is fluctuating, and you're not doing too much, and you're keeping your hands out of the tank, and you're not changing things, ridiculous amounts of things at a time, you'll start to see the results, and you'll start to see the growth throughout your tank. Again, it just takes patience. And I'm not speaking like I'm the most experienced person on with SPS, because I'm not. I mean, I've only been doing this for maybe 10 or 11 years now with reef keeping. But the things that I have learned, one of the most important things I have learned is to be patient. Your tank will reward you. I didn't want to start off filling my tank with full colonies and all of that. That was just my personal preference. I mean, if you want to do that and you want instant tank, you can do that, and everything is set up, and you can get the tank of your choice and the tank of your dreams, and everything is in there. But for me, I just wanted all these little tiny frags to grow, and in a year or two, just to start to see the colonies, and then just look back on this video and be like, wow, that's the joy and reward that I get out of this hobby. It's just taking these tiny frags and just growing them in the colonies, because I've done it before, and it's just it's a rewarding thing. But again, this tank this time of the day is good. And again, just looking over, this is my Nano tank. So this is my water box 20, and I just had to go over and take a peep at this one as well. But everything in here is stable and everything is doing good. And this is all my softies, and I have no hair algae, and I don't dose anything in this tank at all. The only thing I do is water changes, weekly water changes. I have filter floss in there, and that's it. And I feed the tank. Oh, I have a UV sterilizer. That's all. I'm not doing all these crazy things to my tank and setting up all these dosers and putting all this stuff in there. And it's every now and then I do put phytoplankton in there and a few reef roids, and that's my gorgonia. But I do put reef roids and phytoplankton and a little bit of that stuff in there, and I feed my tank a very small amount because I only have 2 fish in this system. So there's no need for me to do all of this stuff. I mean, if you just sit back and just let everything stable out, it'll be okay. And I told you before in previous videos, with this particular tank, this was a nightmare for me. I had to tear this thing down 6 months in because it was just ridiculously hard to stay on top of, because any little small fluctuation in this little small amount of water just completely just messes up this whole tank. It just does it. Look at the colors on this candy cane. I got this candy cane and it was just a small little piece. I can see it starting to break off into into 2 heads now. I think that's a Space Invader, and of course, my bird's nest up top, and of course, but look at, I wanted to keep this system simple, right? I don't have it full of packed with coral everywhere and everything. I want everything to kind of grow in on this and kind of just take shape on its own. And this is just my personal preference, but I wanted to make sure I stay minimalistic on the amount of coral that I actually put in this system. So as everything fills in, and I've even fragged a couple of those little pieces because they just were growing off of there, so I just put them on little frag plugs. But everything will start to grow in, and again, I just want, my hammer is looking amazing. But this part of the evening, for some reason with my tank, is always the best part of the evening for me. Yeah, I wanted to take the time and just kind of like showcase some of those colors. And I know I'm recording with the iPhone right now, so really the iPhone camera really does not do a lot of these colors justice. But with my lighting that I have on here, my lighting schedule, I mean, everything is just perfect here, So these Ecotech, these are the G5s and these are the Pros. But it's almost a set it and forget it. You put it on the AB Plus and just let it do its thing, put your schedule and leave it there and don't mess with it. But I appreciate everybody watching my video, and I look forward to making more content. I'll see you next time.